Hey friends, we got a busy morning, so you're going to do some getting ready with me. Getting ready specifically for a wedding. So we're going to do some ironing here, and we're going to talk a little bit about my, thoughts surrounding weddings and how I get ready for weddings and how I think about weddings. So I haven't been shooting weddings a super long time. I started shooting them a couple years ago. And actually, the first one I ever shot was with my friend Liam. And Liam is who I'm shooting with today. I shoot with Liam a ton. I do a ton of second shooting for Liam. And it's always really fun because Liam is a great human being and he's a wonderful guy to shoot with. And his couples love him and he's a very just interesting dude. So I always have a good time. We get to talk about all kinds of stuff. But I have found lately, and this has nothing to do with Liam, this is me, I have found that lately, something that I am really trying to do is to better establish what it is I want out of my wedding photography. Because, I'm doing mostly second shooting right now. I have, some of my own weddings, but given that I'm a fairly new wedding photographer, it's not like I am shooting a ton of my own weddings. It gives me an opportunity in one sense to be kind of open and creative with the stuff that I do on a wedding day when I'm second shooting. And I think that that's really, really powerful. So if anybody is curious about getting into weddings, second shooting is a great chance for you to just explore without the extra level of sort of responsibility that you have if you're a primary shooter. So I definitely find myself feeling a little more creative in some respects when I'm shooting second shooting rather than shooting my own weddings. However, I will say that sometimes it can be easy as a second shooter to feel as though you're there to do a certain type of job, which you are. You're there to support, you're there to shoot the things they ask you to shoot and do it in a way that is effective for them. But I find myself sometimes feeling like, oh, well, I can't necessarily be as creative as I want to because that's not my role here. And I think there's merit to that. I think it's important to remember that you are there for a job. But I also think there is merit in having a conversation with the primary shooter, especially if there's somebody you know and there's somebody that you've worked with for a while, to basically ask them, like, hey, how do you feel about, like, I want to try this, I want to try that. And as long as you're not asking at times that are terribly inopportune, I think it's fine to do that, and I think it ultimately leads to the benefit of everyone because you're going to be more creative. You might get them some more interesting shots that they wouldn't get for themselves. And that is sort of the key, is that as a second, you're getting shots that they either don't have time to get or that they don't have opportunity to get. For example, today we are shooting a wedding, and the bride specifically wrote down in their questionnaire that they really wanted to make sure they had both the bride and the groom, this is a bride-groom wedding, that they had both of them in the shot, like we had a shot of both of them reacting to the first look. Now, they're actually not doing a first look, they're doing like a walk down the aisle thing, so we would have gotten that anyways, but it's just interesting to remember that, like, it's not just like you're doing whatever the primary says, you're doing also what the couple wants, right? And so the first thing I usually do when I get there is I try and establish like an understanding of who the couple are, what's important to them, like get to know them a little bit before I start shooting, because as the second, like, they don't know you from Adam, right? Like they haven't had an engagement session with you, they didn't choose you, you were just brought into their life. Like you are a basically uninvited guest. And so that being the case, it's really important to remember that you have to comport yourself in such a way that allows you to be a good guest. And the best way to do that is to try and ingratiate yourself amongst them in some capacity. And for me, the best way to do that is to, be a real human, get to know them, try and be comfortable around them. Because I think that the best thing that can happen, and I would say that this happens pretty often on the days that I shoot, especially with Liam, but with all the people I second shoot with, the best thing that can happen would be that they say, like, man, we had such a great time. Thank you so much for coming. It was great to have you. We're so glad that you worked with Liam. That happens fairly regularly. And I feel like, shooting with Liam so often, we've actually kind of hit our groove, which is cool. Like, I feel like we shoot really well together. He understands what I do. I understand what he does, and it's all really copacetic. And it leads to a great experience for the wedding party. And I don't know, I just think that's cool. I think that's really rad. So what about you? Do you have any weddings coming up? Are you excited to shoot them? Do you mainly second shoot? Do you primary shoot? Have you never shot a wedding? Are you looking into shooting weddings? Like, what are some tips you have for shooting on a wedding day? And we'll end with that because here's a few that I have. One, if you're shooting in the summer, make sure you bring 2 shirts. I mean, winter, it's good to do that too, no matter what. You can spill or something, but I just find like in the summer, like if you're like somebody who sweats a lot like I do, I try and have a second shirt just in case. It's pretty rare I'm ever going to change into it, but hey, it's a nice to have. Stay hydrated, bring snacks, and make sure that you are packing the night before, if at all possible, and then double checking that pack the morning of. That is what I like to do. It makes me feel much more centered. So I'll get pretty much everything packed, unless there's some stuff that I need to like, charge a battery or something like that. I'll get everything packed and it's all just kind of good to go. And then I feel way, way more comfortable, going to bed that night knowing that I got everything I need. So that's that. Everything's ironed. We're good to go. See you soon. Peace.